It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Little Rock Sustainability Hour, brought to you by the Little Rock Sustainability Commission. Today we will discuss sustainability in and around Little Rock. Our goal is to educate and inform you on how we can all become better stewards of the community and city we live in.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning into KIBF 88.3 FM for the Little Rock Sustainability Hour, a project of the Little Rock Sustainability Commission. My name is Karen Zucardi, and I am your host. Let me ask you something. Are you looking for ways to save money? Are you wanting to learn things that are going to help you make it through the pandemic? Well, if so, you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. Keep on listening. We have a very interesting program for you tonight. This show is about sustainable living practices that will help us connect the dots between life choices and our future. In addition to being the host of this show, I am also proud to be the chair of the Sustainability Commission. The Commission decided to create this show because we believe in the power of sustainability. We are at an important point in history where our collective and individual behavior are already dramatically affecting the world we live in, many times without us even knowing it. It is important to understand the impact that our actions have not only in our planet, but also in our pockets. It is also important that we connect the dots between what we are doing today and how this will affect our tomorrow. In this show, we are going to talk about those things and much more. And as a bonus, we have two awesome guests today. We will also communicate some of our segments in Spanish. So let's welcome our Latino community. Hola a todos, muchas gracias por sintonizar KBF 88.3 para escuchar la hora de sostenibilidad con Karen Zucardi acá en la ciudad de Little Rock. Vamos a tener varios segmentos en español y esperamos que lo que aprendas con nosotros hoy sea útil para tu vida, te ayude a ahorrar dinero y a entender un poco mejor el impacto que nuestras decisiones tienen en el planeta y en nuestros bolsillos. También te vamos a mostrar formas de cómo ahorrar dinero por medio de prácticas sostenibles y de cómo podemos ayudar a nuestra hermosa ciudad a ser mucho mejor. Today's show is going to primarily provide you with an introduction to the Commission. We are also going to talk about the meaning of sustainability and why this is so important for our lives and our community. We want to provoke thought about sustainability and how we can make it work within our communities. Throughout this series, you will hear some terms, of course, like sustainability and climate change. I am going to briefly define these terms for those of you who may not be too familiar with them. Sustainability, according to the World Commission of Environment and Development, is forms of progress that meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And climate change. According to NASA, climate change is a long-term change in the average weather patterns that have come to define Earth's local, regional, and global climates. When people hear the term sustainability, chances are that some of us associate this word with images like trees, flowers, birds, and everything Mother Nature. In other words, our environment, and that is correct. But sustainability goes beyond the environment. You see, this has three pillars, or sustainability has three pillars. They are environmental, social, and financial. The bigger picture aims to find a point of equilibrium among the three of them. And if you think about it, these three areas, environment, social, and financial, are critical for the healthy progress of the modern world. As I previously stated, this show is a product of the Little Rock Sustainability Commission. I want to briefly talk about the commission and how we got here. If you are interested in learning more about how to get involved, please reach out to the Sustainability Office at recycle@littlerock.gov. We would love to hear from you. Also, please follow us on social media. Sustain Little Rock is on Facebook and Instagram. We share valuable information for the Little Rock community on both of these platforms. You can hashtag LRSC for Little Rock Sustainability Commission. You can also hashtag LRSH for Little Rock Sustainability Hour. Also, you can hashtag Sustain LR and, of course, Unite LR. The commission was established in 2008 as a mayoral appointed task force. In September of 2018, the Little Rock Board of Directors approved an ordinance to transition the Sustainability Commission from a task force to an official city commission. This commission's mission is to help research and develop strategies and innovations to promote environmental and economic health and prosperity within the city, without creating unnecessary competition between various aspects of development. Commissioners work on the following: sustainability studies, the preservation and enhancement of green spaces, energy consumption, design recommendations for built environment projects, the assurance of access to healthy foods, and recommendations for the construction of green buildings and other infrastructures as a means to provide utilitarian use while minimizing environmental impact. So now that we have all become familiar with the Little Rock Sustainability Commission, let's talk about commission members. The commission consists of a great team of highly qualified citizens who reside in Little Rock with a diverse background and experience in various fields. The commission can have up to 15 members, and we have 5 working teams. They include energy, education and community outreach, transportation, waste and reduction, and environment, health, and wellness. Since sustainability is such a broad subject, the Commission has these working teams to help us advance in these specific areas. Having these teams is also quite useful for the Commission because we use our commissioners' unique skills and passions for specific subjects. If you care about any of these subjects, we want to hear from you. Please don't forget to send us an email. As I mentioned earlier, I am the chair of the Little Rock Sustainability Commission. I was born in Bogota, Colombia, and from an early age, I have been interested in nature, the environment, and mindful spending. I am a proud graduate of the Clinton School of Public Service, and I also have an undergrad in international economics. I work in economic development. I am extremely passionate about making this planet a better place for everyone. And I do this by learning about and promoting sustainability and entrepreneurship, in particular, social entrepreneurship. Growing up with my 3 siblings, we did not have a lot. We had to learn to make do with very little. Therefore, we could not afford to be wasteful. I ultimately moved to the United States, and eventually I was able to help my mother financially. I graduated from college, and when I was already a little bit more professionally established, I decided to fulfill another dream of mine, which was to travel the world. From my travels to 26 different countries, I saw first time many ways that sustainability is utilized and extremely important. I can tell you many stories about the positive impact that sustainability has in communities around the world. I hope that the time we are going to spend together in our shows will help you understand how we can all together build a better world, starting with our beautiful city of Little Rock. Throughout the shows, we will introduce commissioners and other guests. This evening, our special guests are Lenny Mazzanelli and Melinda Glasgow. They both work for the Little Rock Sustainability Office here at the city. Our first guest this evening is Lenny Mazzanelli. Lenny has been the recycling and sustainability educator for the city of Little Rock since October 2019. As the city sustainability educator, Lenny is dedicated to helping create and facilitate programs, projects, and policies to promote sustainability within the city of Little Rock and across the community. Her position is within the Little Rock Sustainability Office, and they work closely with the Little Rock Sustainability Commission and its 5 working teams on issues involving energy, transportation, education and community outreach, waste and reduction, and environment, health, and wellness. Currently, in this COVID-19 pandemic, Lenny is avidly exploring ways that city residents can relate to sustainability efforts and feel empowered to improve the quality of their lives within the context of our new collective normal. Our second guest is Melinda Glasgow. Melinda is the Sustainability Officer for the City of Little Rock. She began her career with the City of Little Rock in 2008 as the Recycling Program Coordinator. In 2012, she became the Sustainability Officer for the city and also serves as the Executive Director of Keep Little Rock Beautiful. In her current capacity, she has developed and coordinated several ongoing programs and events for the city. One of her first accomplishments was the launching of LR Recycles, a program identifying and promoting the city's recycling efforts involving curbside recycling. She was also instrumental in establishing the city's first residential single-stream recycling program in 2012, named Recycling on a Roll. Some of you may remember that. These feature yellow top recycling carts that residents could conveniently roll to the curb. In recognizing the need for public awareness, she has developed many events that give the public information they need to participate in their own individual recycling and sustainability efforts. As an example, she formed a partnership with the city, Keep Little Rock Beautiful, Shrek Smart, and ESCO or ESCO, and others to celebrate America Recycles Day. This is an annual event that raises awareness about the importance of responsible recycling in our community. Melinda, Lenny, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work that you do for the city. We are going to focus this evening in the concept of sustainability. The concept of sustainability is very different to all of us. Sustainability means something different to you, to me, our friends and associates. This evening's show is going to be really great because we're going to be incorporating what sustainability means, not just to me, but also to our special guests. So, Lenny, what does sustainability mean to you?
Hi, well, thanks for having me today. And let me start by just saying, very simply, sustainability to me means that we do presently what we need to in order to thrive, to be happy, to sustain ourselves, but we think about future generations and we don't deplete the resources so that they in the future can have the same quality of life that we're having presently.
Great. What about you, Melinda? What does sustainability mean to you?
Well, again, thanks for having us. And I agree with Lenny that every day, the decisions we make every single day, to me, means sustainability. Everything from where you spend your money, where you spend your time, you know, I mean, how you get to and from work and play. Whether that is, you know, you try to walk as much as you can, you ride a bike if you can. I happen to drive an electric vehicle. That was a choice, a very conscious choice that I made when I purchased a car. So, I think that, shopping local and refusing single-use plastics, and just every single day we make decisions that mean sustainability. It's a cumulative thought and a cumulative effort. And once you start off, I find once you start doing one thing, it feeds into wanting to do more, because it can be a bit overwhelming, this whole idea of sustainability. So for it not to be too heavy, just to get in there and do one thing, whatever the easiest thing may be for you to do, whether it's just recycling curbside or refusing some single-use plastic, carrying your own bags to the store, whatnot. And then it's easier to kind of go to the next thing and the next thing.
Thank you, Lenny and Melinda, for that. It's really interesting to hear more ideas about sustainability and what that means to different people. Now, our next question is about how did you get involved in sustainability? How old were you, and what were you doing in your life in that specific time? Melinda, do you want to get started?
Sure. Well, actually, I grew up in a small town, Southwest Arkansas, on a farm. And so that's really, I guess, where it started. I didn't really realize that this throwaway economy, because we used and reused and fixed things and used them again. So everything I learned as a kid, I kind of just has carried over to my adult life. And we composted and had a vegetable garden and a flower garden, and we had animals, and so learned how to respect and take care of animals. And that was just a way of life. I didn't really realize it was called something such as sustainability. I don't know. It just was the way you lived your life. And I had a lot of friends who lived similarly. And so anyhow, it was just became natural to me. And also, we spent quite a bit of time at our grandparents' house. And my grandpa used to take the trash and bury it, because they also lived in the country. And I was always fascinated by that, to the extent I was always the only grandchild that would ever ask to go with my grandpa when he did that. And my cousins and my brother would look at me like, well, that's silly. That's crazy. Why do you want to go do that? But I remember just literally watching him do that and just be amazed, and just had all these questions in my head like, well, I don't understand. And of course, they also burn trash and in a burn barrel. And again, they lived way out in the country, and that was just their way of life. And I just had a lot of questions around that as a kid. And of course, now I know those practices aren't really good practices, but I think that's what just intrigued me so, to be as interested, especially in waste and waste diversion and the proper way to dispose of items, whether it was everyday trash or now what we know is e-waste, electronic waste, which is a bigger part of our life now, obviously, than when I was a kid. So we didn't even have e-waste, if you will, maybe a television, But so it's just grown over the years, even since I was a kid. I've always been very intrigued with that whole concept.
How interesting. Thank you, Melinda. And Lenny, what about you?
Well, unlike Melinda, I grew up in the suburbs outside of Dallas. And so for me, anytime the family would go on a vacation, it was usually, someplace natural, nature, and I really, really absorbed that. So that gave me an early appreciation for, just the natural world and the environment. And then when I was about 15, we moved to Arkansas and to Benton. And so that just blew me away. The cultural difference, the aesthetic difference. And by the time I was, in my late high school years, probably my senior year, I got way into environmentalism. Joined Sierra Club, the Nature Conservancy, World Wildlife Fund, just got way into it, and I continued through college and just got deeper into it. And throughout my 20s, I just wanted to know more about how cities develop and what is smart growth. And so sustainability for me kind of began as an urban setting, appreciating what was outside of that. But I guess mixing the two, and how do we live sustainably within an urban setting, knowing that the environment is key to our existence, that the two can be compatible, and how do we do that? So that's sort of my background, my experience.
How interesting. Lenny, I have a follow-up question on that. You said that you got involved mostly in high school, that you started to join a bunch of groups, environmental groups. Was there something specific that triggered you to apply to those groups?
Okay, I'll admit. So yeah, also in high school, I got involved in pageants. And so whether they were local or even like the state pageant. And so, of course, part of that is being asked your opinion about current events. And, for some reason in high school in classes, we never got deeply into what do the students think about, X, Y, Z. So to be asked and to have an opinion formed and speak intelligently about whatever the topic, it really made me do a deep dive in all kinds of, subjects. And for me, my passion was the environment and how we take care of the world we live in, and how we can make that economically feasible, how we can make it equitable so that everyone is enjoying the same. It just really fired me up. And so, yeah, it was a pageant system that kind of pushed me to push myself.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, our next question is about sustainability, your passion, and your families. I know that both of you have children, and I'm very curious to understand and to hear how you have taught sustainability to your kids and family. Melinda, do you want to start?
Sure. So my son actually taught me a lot. When he was a kid, he always had these great ideas. He was in Boy Scouts, actually became an Eagle Scout, and then went on from Central High School grad to Hendrix College. And I remember one time saying, my goodness, your shoes are falling apart. I mean, the sole of your shoe literally is flapping. I mean, let me get you a pair of shoes for, your birthday or whatever. And he was like, oh, Mother, I don't need a pair of shoes. I can glue them back. I mean, he just didn't care. I mean, he just didn't care about that kind of stuff. It's like, let's just keep it going. He just always had that minimalist attitude and things so not materialistic. And so a lot of it I learned actually from him, but hopefully together we back and forth, some of our beliefs. And of course, he spent a lot of time in my hometown as a kid growing up. And he spent a fair amount of time, digging in the earth in vegetable gardens and picking peaches and out in the country, and really kind of fell in love with that whole scene and appreciate nature that way. His favorite book as a kid was The Giving Tree. I mean, so it's just, I don't know. I think we've kind of learned and grown together, learned from one another. But also, so now as an adult, he actually is opening an EV. He's building out infrastructure for an EV station here in Little Rock. Mm-hmm. So and for a while for work, he did solar installation. So he learned about that because that was of high interest to him. So here he is with, 2 college degrees, and he's installing solar because he wanted to learn more about it and to be hands-on and learn, firsthand. So it's pretty cool. I'm really proud of him, and I think he's proud of me, and it's it's a fun back and forth sharing relationship.
That's great. That's such a nice story. What about you, Lenny?
Well, I have 2 kids, a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I guess while I was raising them, I read to them all the time. And a lot of the books I would choose had to do with whether they were fictional or nonfiction, with empowering yourself to take action, do the right thing. A lot of that translated to sustainability and caring for the earth and animals and other people. So I think books were a really big part of, helping them understand where they fit into the world and how they can contribute. Took them outside often to a park or to, a pond, and just really let them experience their environment as well. And my daughter now is at UA, and she's an architecture major, and just told me, I guess like a month ago, that she had declared a minor as well in sustainability. So, full circle. I'm very proud of them both. But yeah, I think it began with books, and so I encourage all parents to read from the very beginning. They don't even have to be able to say anything back to you. They are absorbing it. And it's an important way to open their minds and open their world.
Very true. And with that in mind, why do you think it's necessary, and how do we benefit from sustainable living practices now and in the future, Melinda?
So again, just kind of going back to those daily decisions of saying refusing single-use plastic, we are saving our natural resources, which future generations are going to need. Some of these natural resources we have. So it just cuts down on the consumption of what is going to be needed on down the road, and I think that's just so important to think beyond ourselves and our everyday life, even in our generation. I think it's just very important to think about that. And another thing is just food insecurity, and to think about just all these issues that are very important to think about today, and what we can do and how we can contribute to further our resources for the future.
Thanks, Melinda. What about you, Lenny? Why do you think that sustainability is necessary, and how do we benefit from a sustainable living?
Yeah, well, my gosh, forefront on my mind lately is climate change. And it's also, politically being knocked around more than it has recently in the past, which is a good thing, because it is just like this pandemic, it is a global issue. And carbon emissions are the major contributor to the way that our climate is changing, and it's wreaking havoc in weather patterns and on and on. So how we practice our sustainability now is going to affect the way the climate's changing in the future. And as I've heard, like David Attenborough, who's amazing, just came out with a documentary that speaks to this and said, it's not too late. Things are escalating, yes, but it is not too late to turn climate change around, and for us to make some conscious decisions now that will benefit those future generations. And it's things like, Melinda was saying she drives an EV, and going to more sustainable energy sources is a huge one. So, when I think about sustainability practices now and how it's going to affect the future, climate change is just the first thing that comes into my head. And it kind of encapsulates everything that about sustainability. That's the biggest issue I think that we are all facing right now.
Thank you, Lenny. And on this area, I want to ask you the next question. What have you seen in other cities that our city can implement to become more sustainable?
So one of the things Lenny and I were working on, along with a task force pre-pandemic, was a green restaurant certification program. And we patterned ourselves, some of this after Durham, North Carolina. So that's one city that really has done some innovative, progressive things on that front. So that's just one highlight. That's a city kind of similar in size and to us, and that's doing some really cool things. Another thing is another group, and Lenny can speak to this, is that we had a single-use plastic task force that was together, and we were gathering data and did a survey and got a lot of great information and data, and we were in the middle of compiling that data.
It had so much traction. It got news reporting both on TV and in the paper.
Right, that's exactly. And we were putting it together to present to the board of directors just right before the pandemic hit. And so, just to reference other cities, there are 8 states that have single-use plastic bag bans. And there are over 300 municipalities throughout the U.S. that have either a ban or a fee attached to single-use plastic bags. So there are a lot of states and certainly municipalities to look to for. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we can learn what has worked and what hasn't worked, and that is what we are. That is what we are trying to do.
And the pandemic has colored, some of these projects in a light that is just sort of on hold, but we will get through the pandemic together, all of us, listeners, commission, the office, and so we will come back and some of these initiatives we had so much momentum, we will be able to come back to and push through and see through. But those are both, the Green Restaurant Certification Program is a fantastic idea to help restaurants understand how to green up and gives them levels of achievement so that they can get to that higher bit of recognition for being green. So we will be revisiting that. We know a lot of restaurants are struggling and we feel that pain with them. We know that we'll get back to that program and strengthen that. And then the single-use plastics, that task force about the bags, it's just kind of sketchy right now about with the COVID virus out there and what it clings to and what we can do with our reusable bags. So again, that's an issue that will come back very strong after we can get ourselves through the pandemic.
You asked about what other cities. So we were working directly, and Karen, as you know, as you were a member of this task force as well, the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, also working on this single-use plastic bag issue. So we do have kind of a partner in state, even city and state, that is addressing and discussing this same topic. So it's kind of nice to have kind of another state, city that you're working with on a similar issue. So we shall see, post pandemic, when we can get back to this, where we can how we can move forward.
Yeah, that would be great. I echo what you all just said. We were really working hard to not only advise the city, but advise the city with facts and with deep research that we have been doing. Unfortunately, the pandemic started and the priorities kind of shifted, which is completely understandable. But sustainability and those small efforts that we have been doing in the city, hopefully we'll have the opportunity to, we will be able to pick them up again once things are a little bit more under control. All right. Is there anything else that you would all like to share with the community in Little Rock?
Oh my goodness. We get to talk all day about sustainability and in particular, like in Little Rock, efforts to do that, even with programs, the city has with the recycling program. Our website, littlerock.gov, has some fantastic information about what to put into your recycling cart and where to take things that can be recycled, but not in your residential cart. So listeners, feel free to look at littlerock.gov or
actually lrrecycles.org.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That'll take you just straight.
It takes you directly to that page.
Yeah, directly to the page. And like Lenny said, oftentimes it's just like people really want to go that extra step and know how to recycle and how to properly dispose of something that they know doesn't belong in the curbside cart, right? Mm-hmm. So whether that is an appliance or an electronic waste or batteries or whatever it is, and we do try to provide that information and keep the website lrrecycles.org up to date and with some good just information out there. Another thing we might want to shout out that Lenny and I both work on. We're both board members of Keep Little Rock Beautiful, mm-hmm. which is a local affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, and we really work, there are 3 different areas, recycling being one, which we just touched on, but another one is litter prevention. And unfortunately, it seems like in the South, there's just a lot of litter. And so we help coordinate and participate in litter cleanups throughout the city that are organized, but also there's a wonderful ongoing program that anyone and everyone could be a part of, and it's called Adopt a Street. And you may have seen the signs around the city. And
there's no fee. To join this program.
Yeah, go ahead. Would you like to maybe just explain real quick what this is about and how we could get involved?
Sure. So on our website at littlerock.gov, there is, and also on Keep Little Rock Beautiful website. It probably is probably a better source for the Adopt a Street program. And all you have to really, all that it costs you is your time and that energy that you spend cleaning up. I think it's at least 6 times a year. You do a cleanup on the street that you designate wanting, that's the one you want to adopt. And you're provided with the safety vests and the grabbers and all that good stuff. And then a really cool benefit is you get a sign that on that street that says, whether it's your organization, your family, your name, that you have adopted that street and you're keeping it clean. And it's so important because in our throwaway disposable society, I've adopted a street along with my family, and that's what I see. I'm mainly picking up things on my street that could have been recycled, and it just gets tossed to the side. So it's something to consider if you want to have a hand in making the city a better place, a cleaner place, a healthier place. The Adopt a Street program is a very easy way to do that.
Great. All right. So everyone, you heard it. KeepLittleRockBeautiful.com. That's the easier and the easiest and best way to get your name and be part of the community, as well as easy to send us an email to recycle littlerock.gov. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas or feedback that you would like to give to us, that's also another way to do so. Okay, well, Lenny and Melinda, this has been a great opportunity to talk to you. Thank you for your time and for the efforts that you put into making Little Rock a more sustainable city.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, you're an awesome chair of the Sustainability Commission. We really appreciate you as well.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate the opportunity. And again, any questions, you can always reach out to Lenny or me here at the city as well. We're open and welcome any questions to see if we can be supportive or answer questions of anything we've talked about today.
So now that we know a little more about the Little Rock Sustainability Office and the Little Rock Sustainability Commission, let's travel around the world and discover together what other cities are doing regarding sustainability. It is important to keep in mind that sustainability does not follow a cookie-cutter approach. Yes, there is a baseline that any city can use for sustainable initiatives, but what works for some cities may not work for others. And why is that? Well, cities are unique and have unique requirements, climate, and population. A city needs to analyze the residents' current struggles and capacity to develop their own programs. Building sustainability projects is an exciting opportunity for residents and local government to come together to create a plan for a better community. This section, A Look Around the World, aims to broaden our knowledge and understanding on how sustainability is being used in other communities. As a world traveler, I am very excited about this section. Not only are we going to learn about other cities and what they are doing in regards to sustainability, but we will also learn a little bit about geography and fun facts about the cities we're going to talk about. So let's get started with our look around the world. Today, we're going to travel within the United States. We are going to visit Austin, Texas. Austin is a shining example of how sustainability can contribute to the development and growth of a city. Austin has set national standards for the sustainable built environment, recognizing that buildings, public space, and infrastructure are all critical contributors to a thriving population. Austin's commitment to sustainable development is indisputable. They have prioritized sustainability initiatives for decades because they want to ensure that every person or resident of the city of Austin have the highest quality of life possible. Let's learn about this city. Austin is the capital of Texas. It has a little bit over 2 million residents. 48.8% of its residents identify as white, 30.21% as Latinos, 8.1% as African Americans, and 7.5% as Asians. This information can be found on datause.io. I also want to share with you 3 interesting facts about the capital of Texas. In 2018, Forbes named Austin the fastest growing city in the USA. Every year, they have thousands of people moving to the city limits. Also, did you know that Austin is home to the largest bat colony in North America? Around 1.5 million bats emerge from under the Ann Richards Congress Avenue Bridge just before sunset every day from March to October. If you have the opportunity to go to Austin, please go to this bridge. It's really interesting and amazing to see this show. Austin is geographically nearly the same size as New York City, with over 280 square miles. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So now that we know some interesting facts about Austin, let's dig into their sustainability initiatives. They include water conservation, energy savings with residential, commercial, and multifamily offerings, and a capital improvement program. If you want to know more about the type of projects that they have, I encourage you to visit their website, austintexas.gov. These initiatives aim to help Austin save natural resources and reduce CO2 emissions, but it also helps residents and the local government save money. As you can see, sustainability is a win-win. Next week, we will go to another city, and together we will learn cool things and ideas from them. Our time together today is ending, but before we go, I want to share with you some sustainability tips for this week. The first tip I want to share with you all is how to make our own hand sanitizer. Today, more than ever, it is important that we wash our hands as often as possible, but we don't always have the way to do so. Therefore, hand sanitizers are our next option. Although they are not too expensive, when we are financially struggling, any penny that we can save is helpful. So today, I want to share with you how we can make our own homemade hand sanitizer. For this, we will need 2/3 cup of rubbing alcohol, a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel or the plant. You can find either of them at a local store. And we're also going to need 10 drops of your favorite essential oil. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna get those little bottles where, hand sanitizer size bottles. You're gonna put all the ingredients in that little bottle. You're gonna mix them up very well, and you're gonna keep it either in your purse or in your car. You can give it to your children, to your family members, so they have it handy with them all the time. Remember that the best way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and other germs is by washing your hands often, not touching your eyes, nose, mouth, or ears if you're outside, and keeping social distance. Another tip that I want to give you today is use cloths instead of paper towels. Many people don't realize this, but we here in the US, we are the nation that consumes the most paper towels by far in the world. It's almost like it's an addiction to us. This, of course, is an environmental and financial burden. We can save money by using cloth towels. And how do we do this? Well, do you have an old t-shirt or an old towel somewhere in your house? You can go ahead and cut it up into in pieces and use those in the kitchen, surface around your home, and even your floors. Some of the tasks that we complete with our paper towels could be equally well accomplished with reusable cloth towels. You can even color code them if you want to avoid cross-contamination. So when you are done with them, you use them and then you just throw it in the laundry with everything else. And then once they're dry and clean and all that stuff again, you put them in their little space where when you organize them, and then you use them again and again. And this is a way to save money and also help the environment. Now that I'm going to be sharing the same sustainability tips that I just did, but I'm going to share them in Spanish. So if you are learning Spanish, I hope you pay attention. I am going to talk very slowly so you can understand. Okay, ahora vamos a hablar un poco sobre tips que nos pueden ayudar a ahorrar dinero y nos pueden ayudar a proteger el medio ambiente. El primer tip de la semana es sobre cómo hacer nuestro propio desinfectante de manos en casa. Hoy más que nunca es importante que nos lavemos las manos con mucha frecuencia, pero muchas veces no tenemos manera de hacerlo. Nuestra segunda mejor opción son los desinfectantes de manos. Y aunque ellos no son muy caros, la verdad es que ahorrar dinero, así sea poco, es muy importante para muchas familias. Y bueno, para nuestro desinfectante de manos que vamos a hacer en casa, vamos a necesitar los siguientes ingredientes. 2/3 de taza de alcohol médico, 1/3 de taza de aloe vera, lo puedes usar en gel o de la planta directamente, cualquiera de las dos formas las puedes encontrar en la tienda. Y también vamos a necesitar 10 gotitas de tu aceite esencial preferido, tu aceite esencial preferido. ¿Y qué es lo que vamos a hacer? Bueno, es súper fácil. En una botellita vas a poner todos los ingredientes y lo vas a mezclar bien. Compra varias botellitas y dáselos a tu familia, a tus hijos, a tu mamá. Mantén tu botellita en tu bolsa o en tu carro, y así para que sea súper fácil de acceder a ellos cuando estamos por fuera de la casa. Pero de todas maneras, recuerda que la mejor manera de ayudar a controlar la propagación de virus como COVID-19 es lavándonos las manos frecuentemente y evitar tocarnos los ojos, nariz, boca y orejas cuando estamos en lugares públicos. El otro tip que les quiero dar hoy es reducir el consumo de toallas de papel en la cocina. Nosotros aquí en los Estados Unidos estamos adictos a este producto. Y reducir el uso de este producto no es solo bueno para el medio ambiente, sino también para nuestro bolsillo. Y esto es súper fácil. Si tienes una camiseta o una t-shirt en tu casa que ya no usas, córtalas en cuadros y mantén estos cuadros a la mano para usarlos en la cocina, o en los baños o incluso en el piso. Entonces lo que puedes hacer es los usas y los lavas con la ropa cuando ya sea hora de lavar, y después vuelves y los pones así como si fueran toallas normales en tu casa. Es una manera fácil y sencilla de ayudar al medio ambiente y también ayudar a nuestro bolsillo. All right, so the last section of our show is our Eco Challenge of the Week. We want to challenge our audience to become more sustainable, but becoming more sustainable does not require a drastic change. If we all try just a little, we can make big changes. This week, I want to challenge you to be more mindful of your energy and water consumption at home, at work, and at school. Do you leave the water running when you are brushing your teeth or shaving your face? Can you imagine if we all close the faucet for 60 seconds, how much water and money we could save? Do you leave your heat running for hours at a time when nobody is using it? What if we try to turn it off or down when we leave home? Or if we are at home, I challenge you to wear comfy winter pants or a nice cotton sweater that is going to keep us warm inside our home without us having to jack up the heat super high. And then at the end of the season, have like these really like super expensive bills. I challenge you to keep these tips in mind this week. You can also share with us how the sustainability or the eco challenge of the week is going with you by using our social media and by connecting with us via email. La última sección del programa es nuestro reto ecológico es nuestro reto ecológico de la semana. Queremos darte tips para que tengas prácticas sostenibles en tu estilo de vida, pero estas prácticas no tienen que ser drásticas o difíciles. Si todos nosotros tratamos de ayudar un poco, grandes cambios pueden ocurrir. Esta semana, tengamos en cuenta el consumo de agua y energía en nuestras vidas. ¿Eres de los que deja la llave de agua corriendo cuando te estás cepillando los dientes o te estás afeitando? ¿Dejas la calefacción prendida todo el día a temperaturas súper altas en el invierno? Esta semana te invito a que te acuerdes de cerrar la llave del agua cuando te estás cepillando los dientes o te estás afeitando, y a que cuando estés en la casa te pongas unos cómodos pantalones y saco de algodón o de otro cómodo material durante el invierno, para que así no tengas que poner la calefacción a niveles muy altos. También te invito a que si vas a salir de la casa, que pongas que pienses sobre el termostato y trates de bajarle la temperatura para que así tú no estés gastando dinero en energía que nadie está usando. Aunque no parece gran cosa, si todos hiciéramos lo mismo, ¿te imaginas de todo el agua y energía que podríamos estar ahorrando como comunidad? Además que también te ayudaría a ahorrar dinero, como ya te dije. Si quieres contarnos cómo te está yendo con el reto ecológico de la semana, te invito a que te conectes con nosotros por nuestras redes sociales o también nos mandes un correo electrónico. Nuestra red social es Sustain Little Rock o Sustain LR y ahí nos puedes encontrar. We have all been affected in some way by COVID-19. I want you to know that you are not alone in your worry about the world. Everyone has been impacted by the reality of living through this pandemic. We are still trying to figure out. It is our hope that the tips, ideas, and conversations that we will have together on this show will give you the tools to help you through the pandemic and beyond. To all our listeners, if you have suggestions, ideas, or comments, please send us an email to recycle@littlerock.gov. You also can follow us on social media through Instagram and Facebook. You can find us in Sustain LR, and you can hashtag us also. You can hashtag LRSC for Little Rock Sustainability Commission or LRSH for Little Rock Sustainability Hour. You can also hashtag Sustain LR and, of course, hashtag Unite LR. Again, I would like to thank our special guests, Lenny Massanelli and Melinda Glasgow, for coming on this evening. I would also like to thank the commissioners for the hard work that you all have put into this project. And last but not least, big thanks to you, our listening audience. We want to thank you for spending time with us this evening, and be sure to tune into the Little Rock Sustainability Hour next Thursday at 6 p.m. We are going to talk about energy and the great work we are doing in Little Rock and Arkansas in this area. Para toda nuestra audiencia latina, muchas gracias por haber sintonizado el programa y recuerda que si tienes ideas o comentarios, por favor escríbenos a recycle@littlerock.org. No olvides en acompañarnos en nuestro próximo show. Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima. Goodbye, everyone.